The decision that stunned the basketball world came during what seemed like another ordinary team meeting in Phoenix. Sophie Cunningham, the Mercury's defensive enforcer, known for her relentless competitive spirit, had gathered her teammates for what everyone expected to be routine off-season preparation. But when she began speaking about Caitlin Clark, the at which made the final best of most of the finances, I had to tell why she was the one that came in. The veteran guard who had built her reputation on never backing down from any challenge, who had engaged in some of the most intense competitive battles in recent WNBA history, was about to reveal something that would change everything. Her words would ripple through social media within hours, generating conversations about respect, growth, and what it really means to compete at the highest level of women's basketball. Sophie Cunningham represents everything that makes professional basketball compelling. The grit, determination, and competitive fire that transforms talented players into championship-caliber athletes. Since joining the Phoenix Mercury in 2019, the 6'1" guard from the University of Missouri has established herself as one of the league's most respected defenders and team leaders. Her career statistics of 9.1 points, 3.2 rebounds and 2.1 assists per game tell only part of her story, as her true value extends far beyond numbers to include the intangibles that separate good teams from great ones. Cunningham's playing style embodies the physical, intense nature of professional basketball at its highest level. She approaches every possession with relentless energy. Whether guarding the league's most talented scorers, or fighting for loose balls that could determine game outcomes. Her defensive philosophy centers on making opponents uncomfortable, using legal physical contact and aggressive ball pressure to disrupt defensive rhythm and force difficult decisions under pressure. This approach has made her both a fan favorite among Mercury supporters who appreciate her blue-collar work ethic and a formidable opponent for players throughout the league who know they'll face a challenging matchup whenever they encounter Cunningham on the court. The competitive intensity that defines Cunningham's approach to basketball reflects broader themes about what it takes to succeed in professional sports where talent alone isn't sufficient to achieve sustained success. Her willingness to embrace the unglamorous aspects of basketball, the defensive stops, the screen setting, the leadership responsibilities that don't show up in highlight reels, demonstrates the mindset that coaches value most in veteran players who understand their roles and commit completely to team success over individual recognition. Throughout her 5 seasons with the Mercury, Cunningham had been involved in numerous and posy fat bodies, memorable moments that showcased both her competitive spirit and her evolution as a professional league with unprecedented attention and commercial opportunities. The scrutiny surrounding Cunningham's defensive approach against Clark highlighted the challenges of deep faded wind. Title rate has been made in bright and barely done blocking. So, Congresswoman was leaning at their inmates' pride rashes that veteran players face when competing against newcomers who receive extraordinary media coverage and public attention. Every defensive possession, every moment of competitive communication, and every physical play within the rules became subject to analysis and interpretation by commentators and fans who may not have fully understood the competitive culture that has always characterized elite women's basketball. The intensity of this scrutiny created unique pressures for both players as their individual matchups transcended normal competitive relationships to become symbolic of broader themes about veteran-rookie dynamics, competitive respect, and the appropriate balance between athletic intensity and professional courtesy. The media attention surrounding their interactions often exceeded what either player might have expected when simply competing at the highest level of their profession. Questions arose about how this unprecedented level of attention might affect the natural development of competitive relationships between players who are ultimately pursuing the same goals of individual excellence and team success. Sports analysts wondered whether the external pressures created by media coverage and social media commentary might influence how players approach their competitive interactions and whether these in the WNBA making her perspective particularly influential for understanding competitive culture within women's professional basketball. The veteran guard's reputation for authenticity and straight talk makes her announcement especially significant as teammates, opponents, and fans have come to expect honest and unfiltered communication from Cunningham throughout her career. Her credibility as someone who has never compromised her competitive intensity or professional standards while engaging in this kind of relationship building makes her example particularly powerful for other players who may be navigating similar situations. The evolution of Cunningham's perspective on her relationship with Clark demonstrates the complexity of professional athletic relationships, which often begin with pure competitive focus, but can develop into more nuanced understanding when players have opportunities to interact outside of game situations or to reflect on their competitive experiences with broader perspective about shared goals and mutual respect. requiring navigation of complex dynamics while maintaining competitive intensity and professional relationships that benefit all parties involved. The evolution of Cunningham's relationship with Clark could serve as an example for other professional sports leagues and communities dealing with similar dynamics between his established players and rising stars who receive disproportionate attention and commercial opportunities that create new pressures and relationship dynamics that previous generations of athletes may not have experienced. The announcement demonstrates how competitive relationships can evolve beyond initial antagonism when players prioritize long-term professional relationships over short-term competitive advantages, showing that intense competition and mutual respect can coexist when athletes approach their interactions with maturity and understanding of shared goals and challenges. The broader implications of Cunningham's announcement include potential effects on team chemistry, league culture, and public perception of competitive relationships in women's professional basketball. As her example, could encourage more open communication and relationship building between players who might otherwise remain focused solely on competitive interactions without considering the personal and professional benefits of mutual respect and understanding. The financial and commercial aspects of Cunningham's announcement cannot be ignored, as positive relationships between established players and rising stars can benefit the entire league through improved public perception, increased fan engagement, and enhanced marketability of women's matter. Professional basketball is both intensely competitive and professionally conducted, appealing to fans who appreciate both athletic excellence and positive role modeling. The announcement could contribute to broader efforts to promote women's basketball as an environment where competitive intensity and professional respect coexist, creating appeal for sponsors, media partners, and fans who value both elite athletic performance and positive interpersonal dynamics that reflect well on the athletes, teams, and league organizations involved. The announcement's impact on Cunningham's own career and public image has been significant, as fans and media have reassessed their understanding of her competitive approach and personal character based on her willingness to publicly acknowledge and address her relationship with Clark, demonstrating evolution and growth that enhances her reputation as a mature professional who prioritizes long-term relationships over short-term competitive advantages. This evolution could enhance her reputation as a leader and role model for younger players who may be learning how to navigate competitive relationships while maintaining professional standards and contributing to positive team culture that benefits all stakeholders within professional basketball organizations. The Phoenix Mercury organization's response to Cunningham's announcement has been supportive, as team management benefits from having players who can navigate complex competitive relationships while maintaining professional standards and contributing to positive team culture that enhances the organization's reputation and appeal to fans, sponsors somewhere else in the world. In the biggest deep upcoming move of life is so interesting in the middle of players. The announcement demonstrates leadership qualities that coaches and front office personnel value in veteran players who serve as examples for younger teammates and help establish organizational life culture that supports both competitive excellence and professional growth for all players regardless of their experience level or public profile. The announcement also highlights the role that social media and public communication play in modern professional sports, where players' words and actions extend far beyond game situations to influence public perception, fan engagement, and league culture in ways that previous generations of athletes may not have experienced or understood. Cunningham's willingness to use public platforms to address competitive relationships demonstrates understanding of her responsibilities as a professional athlete and public figure who can influence how competitive dynamics are perceived and understood by fans, media, and other athletes throughout the professional basketball community. Competitive interactions and whether their public communication translates into genuine mutual respect and professional relationship building that benefits both their individual careers and the broader women's basketball community. The announcement's legacy will likely depend on how it influences actual relationships and competitive dynamics rather than simply generating positive media coverage or social media engagement, with the true test being whether it translates into genuine relationship building and professional growth that benefits both players and the broader women's basketball community over the long term. The significance of Cunningham's announcement extends beyond individual relationships to include broader implications for how professional athletes can use their platforms and influence to promote positive change within their sports communities while maintaining the competitive intensity and professional excellence that define elite athletic performance. If you're as surprised by this announcement as we are, go ahead and like this video. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think competitive rivalries can evolve into mutual respect, or should players maintain their competitive edge at all costs? How important is it for veteran players to support rising stars in professional sports? We want to hear your perspective on what makes professional athletic relationships successful and sustainable. Then hit subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss our coverage of these evolving relationships that could change the culture of women's basketball forever. Thanks for watching. Sports psychologists who study competitive relationships note that the intensity of professional competition can initially obscure the personal qualities and professional dedication that elite athletes share, making it difficult for competitors to see beyond the immediate competitive context to appreciate the work ethic, commitment, and shared challenges that define all professional athletes' experiences regardless of their individual roles or public profiles. The significance of Cunningham's announcement extends far beyond her personal relationship with Saw Clark to include broader implications for how veteran players approach their interactions with highly publicized rookies and how the WNBA community responds to players who receive unprecedented deeds, attention, and commercial opportunities that may exceed what veterans experience during their own career development. The announcement could serve as a model for other veteran players who may be navigating similar situations with rising stars and struggling to balance competitive intensity with professional respect and sportsmanship. The example that Cunningham has set demonstrates how players can maintain their competitive edge while also recognizing the broader responsibilities that come with being professional athletes and public figures who influence league culture and fan perception. The media coverage and social media response to Cunningham's announcement has been intense and varied, with different segments of the WNBA fan base interpreting her words through their own perspective about competitive relationships, veteran-Oki dynamics, and the appropriate balance between athletic intensity and professional courtesy. Some fans view the announcement as evidence of personal growth and maturity, while others interpret it as a positive development for league culture and competitive relationships. The timing of Cunningham's announcement coming during a period when the WNBA is experiencing unprecedented growth and popularity and commercial success makes rewards particularly relevant for understanding how the league's culture and competitive dynamics might continue evolving as women's professional basketball attracts new fans and generates increased media attention that creates new pressures and opportunities for all players. The announcement could influence how future generations of players approach competitive relationships and public communication about their interactions with teammates and opponents, potentially establishing new standards for how professional athletes navigate the balance between competitive intensity and mutual respect that defines healthy competitive environments. The professional basketball community's response to Cunningham's announcement has included perspectives from current and former players, coaches, and league officials who understand the complexities of competitive relationships and the challenges that come with managing public perception while maintaining the competitive intensity that defines professional sports at their highest levels. These responses have helped shape how the announcement is understood and what precedents it might establish for future player communications about competitive relationships, professional growth, and the responsibilities that veteran players have for establishing positive league culture and supporting the development of rising stars who may be navigating professional basketball's challenges for the first time. Cunningham's career trajectory and competitive style have made her a respected figure amongst teammates and opponents who appreciate her dedication, work ethic, and willingness to engage in the kind of physical, intense competition that elevates the overall quality of WNBA games while maintaining the professional standards and mutual respect that distinguish elite athletic competition from mere physical confrontation. Her reputation for authenticity and competitive integrity makes her announcement particularly meaningful for players and fans who value honest communication and genuine competitive relationships that prioritize long-term professional growth over short-term competitive advantages or public relations considerations that might influence other athletes' approach to similar situations. The announcement also reflects the unique challenges that veteran players face when highly publicized rookies enter the league with unprecedented attention and commercial opportunities that may exceed what veterans receive during their own career development.